kickoff in the Queen City. And man, I can't be more excited about it. We're back here on the Bengals Blitz. I'm Chase Younts. If you guys are watching the video, like, subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to the audio, please give us a 5-star rating. We appreciate all of the support. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Monday observations. I was at practice and what I saw. We're going to talk about the joint practice from Tuesday with the Indianapolis Colts. We'll talk about Jamar Chase's contract situation, and we will also look at what to watch for during the Thursday night football game. The Colts and the Bengals, preseason week 3, and we'll talk about who to watch in that regard. Very excited for today's show. A lot to get into. First off, there's been a lot of new looks and trends going around the city of Cincinnati. But the Bengals added orange pants, and we talked about that before with striping out the jungle against the Cleveland Browns on December the 19th during Thursday Night Football, Week 16. They're adding another trend. We're going orange on orange against the New England Patriots Week 1, just 18 days from now, that is. Excited to see what that looks like. They showed some pictures of Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins sporting the all-orange digs. Super, super excited to see what it looks like on television, see it in person, all of that good stuff. But with that being said, the Bengals also dropped their uniform schedule for the season. So in regards of wearing orange, they'll wear orange week 1 against the Patriots. And then later on in the season, week 13 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, they will wear orange. This will be the 4th time in 5 years the Bengals have worn orange against the Pittsburgh Steelers. We look at the white uniforms. The Bengals wear their white uniforms in Kansas City week 2. They'll wear their white uniforms in New York against the Giants on Sunday Night Football week 6, back-to-back on week 7. They'll wear them in Cleveland. And in week 8, they'll wear their white Bengal uniform with the white helmet in Cincinnati against Philadelphia Eagles, a 4:25 CBS game. And then week 10 and 11, they will be wearing their white back-to-back road games against the Ravens on Thursday Night Football and out in Los Angeles against the Chargers. And then week 15 against the Titans on the road, they'll wear their white. And then week 18 against Pittsburgh on the road to close the season out, the regular season, that is, they'll wear their white. Black uniforms will be sported week 3 through 5. Week 3 on Monday Night Football at home against the Commanders. Week 4 on the road at the Carolina Panthers. Week 5 versus the Baltimore Ravens. Week 9, they will wear them against the Las Vegas Raiders. Week 14 on the road, Monday Night Football, they'll wear their black. The Cowboys will wear their white color rush, or quote-unquote color rush. They don't call it that anymore. If you guys want to check out what the uniform looks and everything else are, you can check out on NFL Gridiron Uniform Database. Really good site that updates all uniform schedules. They do a really good job. And then week 16, orange is the new black in that regard, the Bengals and Browns. And then week 17 against the Denver Broncos. Enough with uniforms and everything else. Let's get to the actual team. Monday, I was at practice. There was a lot that went on. Joe Burrow came out and warmed up in a black glove on his throwing hand. That was a very noticeable thing. Ben Baby has a really good piece from ESPN. He explained like a 30 or 40-second clip that, Burrow's wearing the glove on days where there's not a lot of moisture in the air. So he can get better grip on the football and everything else. And normally Joe wears gloves on the sideline. You see later in the season and everything else, he'll wear gloves. So it's not a thing that, is anything out of the ordinary in that regard. I think it's just different because we're seeing him wear it in practice and there are people there. So obviously a lot of stuff is getting captured in that regard. But regards to Monday practice, the offense did look a bit sloppy. They just looked out of sync. Again, if the offense has a good day or the offense has a bad day, vice versa, defense probably had the exact opposite of that. So the offense not having a great day meant the defense had a pretty good day. And overall, they did have a good day. They were energized. They were active. They were flying to the football. The linebackers were playing really well. Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt were dropping in coverage very well. The secondary, you've got Cam Taylor, Britt, and Dax Hill had really good days on the outside. Geno Stone was filling gaps, and he had a pretty big hit on Chase Brown. They're not tackling or anything like that, but he laid a pretty big boom on Chase Brown, and it energized practice pretty well. Von Bell on the back end doing a good job. Jordan Battle playing that free safety role. Mike Hilton was very active on top of things, but the secondary looked really well, and the linebackers did too. I know I don't mention Evan McPherson a whole lot with this, but again, Evan McPherson looked great. Evan McPherson has a new contract, a contract extension of 3 years, $16.5 million. Well-deserved, because those playoff games and everything else, we wouldn't have won them without Evan. I mean, he was, fantastic in the 21 season. No, the entire way through he has been, but the 21 season most definitely was a big portion for him as a rookie. He came on and just hit some absolutely clutch kicks. I believe he won like 5 game-winning field goals that season, including the playoffs. Had a lot of games where he had to kick those field goals just to give us points. And a game that points out in my mind is the Las Vegas Raiders game in week 11 of 21. He's kicking 50-yard field goals after 50-yard field goals, and the offense finally broke the dam and was able to score points. And we wouldn't have been in that situation if it wasn't for Evan McPherson. So again, congratulations to him on getting that contract. And he is a very popular man in the city of Cincinnati. Talk about joint practice Tuesday against the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts came down. They did the Tuesday thing. They played Thursday night. But from what reports have been, the offense looked pretty crisp and efficient. There were no crazy big plays down the field, but they looked like a well-oiled machine that were getting completions and involving the run game pretty heavily. So that was a good sign to see they're getting the run game going, but just completions and moving the football down the field. T. Higgins looks fantastic. I think if anyone has eyes, they can see that T. Higgins looks fantastic during training camp and in this portion of leading up to the season. Him and Burrow have been on a new level in this connection that they have, and it's really fun to see what's been going on with them. T had a catch on the left sideline on Kenny Moore earlier where he just got up. The vertical was shown, the levitation, the body control, getting both feet in bounds. That was an unbelievable catch. Posted on Bengals social media, all those pages. If you haven't seen it, but wow, it was a fantastic, spectacular, whatever words. I almost merged two of them together. Whatever words you want to say that were positive, it was positive. It was a great catch. But T. Higgins has been really good, and obviously he's fighting for a new contract, whether it's in Cincinnati or somewhere else, we don't know. But that's a man that's trying to earn every bit of money that he can. Mike Gesicki, he had another great day as well. The video of him catching a back shoulder one-handed catch pinned on his right shoulder pad with his right hand was surfaced throughout practice. Mike, man, with him being in this offense with Joe Burrow throwing the football, and no disrespect to the past quarterbacks that he had, but he hasn't had a QB like Joe. I'm excited to see what Mike brings to this offense as a big threat who can, run over the middle and catch passes, who can go high point things. His vertical is ridiculous. A really good tight end at Penn State, played really well with the Miami Dolphins, had a down year with the Patriots, the system, whatever. There's a lot of combination of things in that regard. But if we're able to utilize Mike right, it's going to be a really good partnership and relationship between those two. And just in general, we'll see a lot of touchdowns in the red zone. That's for sure. Speaking of the red zone, the Colts held their own on defense against the Bengals offense. I guess there were no touchdowns scored from what reports were saying in that regard. They held pretty well. Again, you can go back and watch film. That's a big thing with the offensive coordinator and Dan Pitcher. What do we like? What didn't we like? What could we have done better? That's the whole thing. It's nothing to overreact about, shake your head about, anything in that regard. Those guys know what happened, and they're obviously going to go back and look and see what needs to be fixed and how can we utilize it. Again, it's different when number one, Jamar Chase, is not on the field. So again, we'll talk about Jamar Chase later on in the show, but obviously things are a bit different when one of the top receivers is not on the field. He gets a ton of respect and coverage while he's in the red zone, which opens up things for T. Higgins and Mike Gesicki and whoever that third receiver might be. A lot of options unlocked. Defensively, the Bengals defense caused a ton of problems for Anthony Richardson and the Colts offense. They halted them very well. They made life very difficult for Anthony Richardson. You saw a lot of trash talk from players, and obviously it's football, so guys are going to trash talk. But BJ Hill, throw the ball, like quote unquote, and then Geno Stone talking about he throws to spots, not to receivers. If a DB is able to pick that up and QB is throwing the spots, DB beats receiver to spot. DB has a pick, and the thing is with Anthony Richardson, we haven't seen a whole lot of him in the NFL. He played really well in his first 4 games last season with the Colts. They were 2-2. I think he has the chance to be a good player, but I just don't know. When accuracy is an issue, how do you become a good quarterback? How can you be a good quarterback when you're not accurate? Isn't that like the biggest thing to being a good quarterback is being accurate? Getting the football to your receivers. So, obviously we'll see how that plays out. But I just, with him, like what he was in college is what I think he is in the National Football League. The same player at the moment. Again, he probably has made some growth in other places and everything else. I'm excited to see what he can do, but he's a guy that I'm just holding on. I'm like, we'll see. We'll see what Anthony Richardson does. But if he's able to turn it on for the Colts and he's able to make those leaps and bounds, the Colts are going to be a scary football team. So that's going to be a big thing. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back here in a moment. We're going to talk about Ja'Marr Chase's contract situation and what to watch for on TNF. We'll be right back. All right, we're back here on the Cut to the Chase Bengals Blitz. If you're watching, please like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're listening to us, please give us a 5-star rating on whatever app you're listening on, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Again, there's so many places to get podcasts. A lot. We appreciate the support that you guys have given us. Just talked about Monday observations and joint practice on Tuesday with the Indianapolis Colts. And from one Chase to another, we talk about a contract regarding Ja'Marr Chase. Man, I've had a lot of built up frustration with this because a lot of Bengals roadblocks throughout this offseason have been solved for the foreseeable future. Trey Hendrickson requesting a trade and even threatening to retire. Now Trey's out there practicing. T. Higgins signed his, you were like, okay, he requested a trade and everything else. Was he going to get traded? Signs his franchise tag tender. He's out there practicing and balling. So the thing with Ja'Marr is, yes, he's going to get his contract, but he's got 2 years left on this deal. He picked up the 5th-year option. But I'm going to look at it from a lens like this. We have 2 different perspectives that we can look at this. Actually, there's many different perspectives we can look at it, but we're going to look at it from the Bengals side of things and look at it from Ja'Mar's side of things. The Bengals side of things, we paid Joe Burrow a lot of money. Paid him $55 million a year. Made him the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League at one point. We have to pay some of these other guys and see what's going on. We're not paying T. Higgins at the moment. We gave him a franchise tag. We're not insuring him a long-term contract. So there's money for Ja'Marr Chase. Ja'Marr Chase on this hand is like, okay, they're not paying T. Higgins all that money, and I don't think that really affects him that much because he knows he's going to get his. He's going to get his money. But Ja'Marr Chase sees that Justin Jefferson got paid $35 million in a season, $35 million per season. Ja'Marr Chase sees Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith, who are receivers in his draft class, just got paid as well. $25 million a year for Devonta Smith, nearly $30 million a year for Jalen Waddle. Ja'Marr Chase knows the production that he's had compared to those two in his draft class is pretty much is a greater product and impact when he's on the field. Jamar Chase also sees that Justin Jefferson's making that $35 million a year and thinks that he is in that same ballpark, which he is. So Jamar's like, give him my money now. Give me the money now. The Bengals are like, we extended the fifth-year option. We're going to try to find a way to keep some more players, but you're still going to get your money. But here's what the Bengals need to realize. That with other players in the NFL, like CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Ayuk, especially CeeDee Lamb in this regard, CeeDee Lamb is up there pretty much in the same conversation as Chase and Jefferson and everything else, since he is the main guy in Dallas. Dallas has got to pay him. So CeeDee Lamb's probably going to reset the receiver market. Heck, he can make it 36, 37 a year in millions. Jamar wants to be the guy to reset the market. He can make it 36 or 37 million for him. But it's the Bengals are trying to hold it to the fact of we'll pay you when we get to it, because Justin Jefferson waited 4 years, and after his fourth year, he got his bag. So Jamar, we'll give you the bag after 4. After you complete your 4 years, we know you can do. We're going to give you. We're going by protocol. In this regard, it's like, man, I want the money now because I know my value, and you see the other guys in my class getting paid. So can I get value like that and more? So the thing is, though, if from this regard, I want the Bengals to pay Jamar Chase now. That's the way I'm going to put it. Before, I'm like, okay, I see what the Bengals are doing. They're going by the book. It's not a bad thing. Jamar will give in. I don't know if Jamar's going to give in at this point. I don't know. This is freaking me out. Look, this entire training camp, I'm like, okay, this is, it'll eventually get done. We're less than 3 weeks away from the season, and Jamar has not practiced with the team. As a fan, I'm worried because I'm like, dude, there's so many roadblocks the Bengals got out of their way that a Jamar Chase contract holding was not on my bucket list this season, was not on my bucket list this year. I just want him paid. I don't even want to worry about it. I don't want to deal with it. I want him paid so we can just go chase the goal and win a Super Bowl, have a chance to compete, because we know number one is one of one. I'm not quoting Gunna. Actually, I am quoting Gunna. But Jamar is one of one. And when one is on the field, the opportunities are endless. One goal, one championship, one opportunity, all this stuff. When Jamar Chase is not on the field, the Bengals cannot win a championship. When Jamar Chase is on the field, the sky's the limit. We've seen it. So whether he sits out a game or two, that might be, could they win a game or two without him? We showed we could back in 2022. The Bengals went 3-1 without Jamar Chase. Do I want to entertain that idea? No. I want him out there. So at this point, and I drafted number 3 overall in fantasy, so I kind of need him out there. But I digress. In that regard, I aggressively go to this regard saying, we need him on the field. Can we please pay him now? Because if CeeDee Lamb gets his money and resets the deal, the market to $38 million, Jamar's going to want $40. And now we're talking about a different situation. Would we give him his money? Yes. But we're talking about $40 million a year for a receiver, which is groundbreaking. So there's a lot of pressure going on. But another thing to mention is this. With Justin Jefferson getting his deal after 4 years, Justin Jefferson is a 1. He is the number 1 receiver by most people's metrics and everything else, the number 1 receiver in the National Football League. Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith aren't even the best receiver on their team. and they're getting paid this much money. Again, if anyone has insights on this, on how the Dolphins and the Eagles are doing this with a quarterback getting paid 50 plus million and two receivers getting paid 25 plus million, please enlighten me with the financial literacy so I can do something like that, or push it over to Cincinnati so they could somehow do it this way. Please, I beg you. I digress in that regard, but I aggressively tone up to this. They have to pay Jamar Chase. I am just give him the money. Give him his $36 million a year. Give him his $37 million a year. Get him on the field. Make this Bengals team a significantly better ball club, and let's go win a championship. Let's go win a championship. You're not doing it if Jamar Chase is not out there. Give him the money. He's deserved it. Let's go win a chip. It's all on you, Bengals. You got the checkbook. You got the contract. Again, at this point, ethics have gone out the window, apparently. At this point, it has. Give Chase his money. Now I'm going to digress, actually, and we're going to talk about Thursday Night Football. Whew, all right. I need water. So I'm going to be at the game on Thursday. We're going to be section 154. Just it's going to be nice to be back in Paycor. You know, it's going to be really nice. Haven't been back in Paycor since the Vikings and the Bengals game, week 15 of last season, which that was chaotic. That was chaotic. T. Higgins just stepped up and reached it out. But what I'm watching in this Thursday Night Football bout between the Bengals and the Colts, 8 o'clock p.m. on Amazon Prime Video. I'm looking at the Dax Hill and DJ Turner cornerback battle. They're the only two potential starters that are going to be playing in this game. This is pretty much Dax's job to solidify, could be his to lose. DJ Turner, on this regard, started a lot at corner last year. He's going to have a lot to prove in this one. So I'm excited to see what both of these guys have. Dax has been great in training camp. Dax just has to close this thing out, and he'll probably win the job. DJ Turner, a little more room to cover, actually a bit more ground to cover in this regard. I'm excited to see if he rises to the occasion against the Indianapolis Colts. The interior defensive line, Chris Jenkins, really good game on Saturday against the Bears. Had a sack on Caleb Williams, a nasty spin move. It made me stand up. But Chris Jenkins in the run game, pass rush, all of that. I'm excited to see, can he be a rotational piece for the Cincinnati Bengals going into week 1? Zach Carter looked better on Saturday against the Bears. Can Zach Carter make the leaps and bounds and be a consistent rotational D tackle for this team that can be relied upon? And again, I do want to mention Myles Murphy getting hurt. Prayers up to him. We'll see what the results are on that. But, we need to see if there's any more pass rush depth going on and everything else. But hopefully Myles Murphy is back, because Myles Murphy's looked pretty good this preseason. And I obviously I hope our first round pick is able to get back out there healthy and under good power to see what he can do this season. The third thing I'm watching, receivers. We're not keeping 10. So the Bengals keep 6 or 7. Sometimes keep a guy or two on the practice squad. So let's count it off. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Andre Yoshivas, Trent Irwin, Charlie Jones, Jermaine Burton. That's 6. Now the other guys, Shed Jackson, Kwame Lassiter II, Kendrick Pryor, Hakeem Butler, Cole Burgess. What happens? Do all of them get cut? Do they keep one on the practice squad? Do they keep one on the active roster? Your guess is as good as mine. Who splits themselves apart from the pack? who steps up and says, hey, I'm making this team. This is my job. Who does it? And then with Jermaine Burton, they use him as a receiver in the second half of week 1 of the preseason. They use him as a kick returner in the first half of week 2 in the preseason. Are they going to hand him the ball off in week 3? I don't know. But I want to see Jermaine Burton on the outside running routes and everything else. I want to see if he's able to develop and be a better pass catcher and all. If he's gotten this playbook down. The only people that know if that's the case are the people that are in the building and the reporters and insiders that are close with the team. I want to see Jermaine Burton out there, and I want to see him in person and see that man fly. I'm excited for that. And Logan Woodside have a bounce back game. Him and Woodside and Burton have had pretty good chemistry, and I want to see them just throw it around the yard. I'm excited for Thursday, excited to be back at Paycor, and I'm just looking forward to Bengals football. All I got to say. All right. That'll do it for today's show. If you guys have watched this far, please like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you've listened this far, please give us a 5-star rating on whatever app you're listening on. And we appreciate all the support that you have given us throughout this time frame. Thank you, guys. And with that being said, I'm Chase Johnson. We'll be back next week.